We got a special guest and players only. We're going to close the room, close the door, Weeksy.
Have to close it.
We're going to bring in
Exclusive.
Cheryl Pounder. Thanks for swinging by. What a name. What an intense name.
So
and you were on the call tonight, game one. Can you talk about maybe what we should be expecting? Maybe some of the viewers that are watching, what these rivalry series have turned into and what it means.
Hey, boys. Well, first of all, I'd love to be back out. It looks like John Wroblewski is dressing 5 lines of forward, so I might be able to, with the last name Pounder, just come in as an enforcer for a moment.
Yes.
I mean, when you look at it, these two lineups, though, what to expect, I think the big thing for me is the bigger picture here, right? So the PWHL has been an evaluation tool. The NCAA has been an evaluation tool for coaches, but very rarely do you get the opportunity to see them wearing the jersey aligned with some of the best players in the world, like the Hillary Knights, like the Marie-Philippe Poulins, and there are 4 games where they have this opportunity prior to the Olympics to evaluate best on best. So for a lot of the young athletes coming in here, vying for spots on these teams, whether they get 5 minutes, whether they get 2 minutes, whether they get 20 minutes, this is a critical time to state their claim to wear the jersey in Milan. So I'm really excited about it. You put Canada, US on the ice, it's best on best. It's unbelievable. It's fast-paced. It's physical. It brings all of the elements into the game, guys. There's stars on the ice tonight, and I'm thrilled to be on the call and be back at it.
Cheryl, that's great stuff. Listen, I want you to kind of highlight for the fan and underscore how uniquely different it is for the reasons you just kind of outlined. NCAA, PWHL, and this happens to be the Olympic year in Milan Cortina. So how do the players, from a player standpoint, how do they train differently? Do they prepare differently? Because it is a different season for them, as it was for us in Olympic years when we were playing.
Yeah, and it's really changed. So in the past, for the viewers, there would be like a centralization or a residency program for the athletes that were identified for their respective countries. So whether that number was 30 or it was 27 or a little higher in earlier years, they would come together, whether it's in Blaine, Minnesota, or whether it was in Calgary for the Canadians, and they would live and train full-time together, vying for spots, playing different teams and finding ways to get on the roster and then find their way to the Olympic Winter Games. But now that there is the PWHL, because it's a professional league, there are so many players that play within this league, they don't want to disband it. So there is no longer a residency or a centralization process. There's going to be more mini camps whereby these athletes can train and get evaluated, but they go back to their respective teams. So the PWHL starting November 21st, now the Scepter, the Toronto players will go to the Scepters, and the Sirens players will go and play on their respective teams. The college players will go back to the NCAA. So there has to be a ton of communication right now with the training component between national team staff and club NCAA or PWHL coaches, because that's absolutely imperative, right? To have your athletes sort of peaking at the right time, which is kind of a juggernaut, right? It's difficult to do with everyone when the ages are different, when the leagues are different. But overall, this is such a competitive year. I mean, some of the young athletes that are coming up are absolutely unbelievable. They've got finesse. You look at Kirsten Sims. You look at players like Joy Dunn out of Ohio State. Emma Peschel's going to make her debut tonight, on the back end. So she plays at Ohio State. Nadine Muzzerall, her coach there, will be in the building. We'll be interviewing her during one of the intermissions. So when you look at it as a collective, guys, there's not many spots available, but I am telling you right now, we are looking at sort of top tier players entering this fold, and we got our eyes on them. So it's going to be incredible, to be truthful, because the pace has just completely changed over the past few years and the physical element to the game.
So, Cheryl, before we get to your great career, I just want to say, too, that we talk about the evaluation. It's really interesting learning about all the different nuances of this and what it means, but it's also U.S. and Canada. So there's going to be a level. It's not exhibition. It's simply, it's never exhibition.
It's not, come on, is it ever exhibition?
No.
Like first of all, they're vying for spots for their national team.
Yes.
So that's the first point, right? So, when you get your moment, you've got to find a way to shine. And so that's absolutely critical. You walk in the room, if you're Emma Peschel, and you got Hillary Knight standing beside, you're facing off against Marie-Philippe Poulin. You want to make sure that you're having an impact when you're on the ice. And when those athletes step on the ice, guess what? They want to win every single time. It is in their DNA, which is why they're the best in the world. So to me, this ain't exhibition. I mean, you're going to see scuffles after the whistles. You're going to see, Poulin and Abby Murphy going toe to toe. The chirping is going to be alive. Players are going to be in the box. I mean, when you step on the ice wearing your jersey for your country, I mean, you want to win.
That's why we needed a Pounder jersey on that roster.
That's right.
Yes.
But
That's right.
anyways, I want to get back to you, because what I love about this and all those things, and we're talking about the women's game, getting more exposure and all these great things in a very healthy place. But it's got fingerprints of the ones who came before, and you're certainly one of those in your great career. So I want to get back to that. You're born in Montreal, grew up in Ontario. I got to ask you first off, why number 11?
Messier.
Oh.
Nice. He'll love to hear that.
Was that an easy one for you?
Mess will love to hear that right now, too. That's great.
So, listen, I had a brother that wore it. And the question was, I also asked my father, did you ever think it would be your daughter that would go to the Olympics? And he honestly said no. It just was impossible at the time. It was impossible dream when I turned to my grandma and said, I want to go to the Olympics one day. It was impossible. And I never thought it would be possible in my lifetime where I would see a professional league with the parity at the level of which it is now. And so for me, all of those things kind of came full circle. But I loved Mark Messier. I loved his leadership. I just loved everything about the competitive nature to his game. And just that was someone that I looked up to as an athlete. And so, so I had an opportunity to wear the ones and I put them on.
Cheryl, that's awesome stuff. I love that. As I said, Rupper, Mess is going to love hearing that because I know he tunes in. Here's a follow-up, though. Going back in our time, and I know this about you, too, you grew up playing ringette. You started playing ringette initially, as did a lot of young girls at that age. At that time, give it yourself, give it Candy Grenade. It could be anybody, any one of you that came before this current group. But now a lot of these girls have the opportunity to play elite youth hockey at a very young age, and they don't necessarily have to make that transition from ringette to playing. So have you seen the impact of these young girls having the benefit of playing hockey initially versus playing ringette?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a great skater. So a lot of the time the skaters came out of ringette, but I could not have broken a wet Kleenex with my shot. And that's the truth, right? Because I shot a ring. I didn't have the proper fundamentals into shooting the same way, which is why I never made my way onto the power play. It was high, hard, off the glass pounder. But at the end of the day, I'm seeing a massive difference. I mean, I'm in the youth arenas. My daughters play. I've coached for a decade. And what I'll tell you is they're getting sort of the fundamental training earlier. And they're also getting sort of the one-on-one skill sessions that you see a lot of the male players get when they're younger. So yes, to some degree, you're seeing the heel to heels as you cross over the blue line, and you're seeing also sort of the different skills from a younger age. Now it's implementing them and understanding where to do it, but I've certainly seen a massive difference in the shooting, in sort of the execution, in the passing. I think the females have always had the skating ability, but the training has changed. So now all of a sudden, they're getting over the puck a little bit differently on their shot. Their releases are getting quicker. It's not just about working their lower half, of course, which we naturally have as strength. What about our upper bodies? So all of those things for our timing too, that makes a massive difference to get your upper body in sync with your lower. And so I think that's really been a massive piece to the game, has been the shooting and the edge work. And I think those are fundamentals that have come in because athletes have started at a young age. They're getting the trainers, they're doing all of those things. I still love two sports. Playing different sports in the summer. I'm still a huge advocate of it. But you do see sort of more specialized training, and you're not seeing sort of lift in the ring. It's proper technique from a younger age, and making sure that you're using the proper stick. I was using an 85 flex boys. No wonder I couldn't shoot the puck. It was the only free stick.
Hey,
it came from my
brother.
It was the only free stick. And cut that puppy down.
Oh, amazing.
Cut it down.
Amazing.
I was using a tree.
Amazing.
Cheryl, what was it like when you made the boys team for the first time? What did it mean to you, and how was it received by others?
Well, I'll tell you, when I started out and I was, I made a boys team, I remember getting chased into a dressing room by an angry parent because their son had been cut for me.
What?
I kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I laugh about it to this day. But you know what? I was really, really fortunate to have a ton of support in my family, all around me that said, why not? You love it. You're passionate. I was out playing street hockey with my brothers, Kevin, you'd appreciate it. They put me in net all the time. They beamed the ball at my head. I'd run and chase the ball to come back and play net again. Just fell in love with the game. And so, I was supported by so many people. And then coming up, making the national team for the first time and having my family on board and a lot of my friends they bought in, they said, this is what Cheryl wants. She loves it. And it took me away, but they supported it. They gave me a lot of notes at university. I'm not going to lie. And followed it and followed me right to the Olympic Winter Games. So I've been blessed with a family that, from a very young age said, Cheryl, why not? If this is your dream, believe in yourself. You'll never know unless you try. And cute little story to that is the first person I ever told I was going to go to the Olympics before women's hockey was in the Olympics was my grandma. And I was 8 years old. And we were watching the opening ceremonies. And I turned to her and said, I'm going to be there one day.
Wow.
Love it.
That's
but my
powerful,
grandma was
man. I got goosebumps.
my grandma
Love
was
that,
my
me too.
Oh,
but my grandma was my person. Did you ever see the movie A League of Her Own?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Gina
Okay,
Davis.
so my grandma had a contract for Wrigley Field in the 1940s
Wow.
to play in that league. Like essentially Dottie was her catcher and she said no. Because at that time she didn't think she could have a voice. She didn't think she could leave. All of those things. And I knew this about her. So she's staring at me saying, Cheryl, this is what you want.
wow.
You take
That's
it.
powerful, man.
So
That's unbelievable.
So that, you know what, that carried right through into broadcasting. When you're down and you're not sure about, and you're questioning, it's like, you know what, the game and trust the value. And so it's been interesting. It's been a long journey and a long road, but I can tell you right now, when I called the first PWHL game, guys, I looked above the glass and I said, wow, it's happening. And so now I get to be at ice level, sometimes between the benches, and I stare at, the Alex Carpenters of the world on one side and now the Sarah Filliers on the other. And I go, man, oh man. And then everyone else in the building who are watching with an opportunity, not only see it, but potentially think, you know what, one day I want to play here. And as we all know, when you have that something to shoot for, that's where you buy in, whether you ever make it or not. I mean, you want to get invested in the game. So it's a pretty great spot to be in. Not jealous of it, just proud as hell, boys, that it's finally there. And I think it's going to be on display tonight.
Cheryl, take us from that moment where that parent chased you into the dressing room for making that team in place of his son to then making the national team at 17. What was the feeling like for you making Team Canada at 17?
So it's interesting. They told me that I was the last player at camp and I was in for a call up. And of course, I'm very intrinsically motivated, high in drive. And I was like, I'll show you kind of idea.
Right.
But I didn't think I was going to make it. And so, a couple of people really helped me in that process. Angela James being one of the great Angela James.
Absolutely. Shout out.
And it's interesting because when I got the call, I remember I had to go and shake the coach's hand. I remember my mom, her name's Diane. We call her Spicy D. That's for a whole other story. She says, Cheryl, you got to just shake the man's hand, say thank you for the next time you come back, And so I met him. I was 17. I said, Mr. Lawton, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've learned, I've grown. And the next time I come back, I'm going to make your team. This is before I just assumed because he told me I was the last player in camp. And he kind of stood up and he said, well, there'll be no next time, Cheryl Pounder, you just made Team Canada.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Hugged him. I cried. It was just, a dream come true. But then, the challenge is always staying there, as we know, staying on the top and what you have to do. And I didn't fully understand that. So face some adversity afterwards. But I'll never forget, putting that jersey on for the first time. And that's something I really appreciate now even more is the fact that I would kiss it every single time I put it on. And when I look at the athletes, on the ice tonight, I'll know that they have some sort of thing that they do before they put it on because it's so special, right? To represent your country is second to none that I had an experience to do.
What was it like in 02 and 06 with the gold medals. I mean, that's just got to be, when you're talking about all the upbringing, all the people that believed in you, you had to go through adversity of maybe getting cut from teams and then bouncing back and then having those types of moments.
You know, '02 was probably the toughest year of my life athletically. That wound up being the most successful, because we found a way to overcome absolutely everything. Of course, the Americans were beating us left, right, and center. They won 8 straight games. But you know, when you have that certain something, and you have it very few times in your life, when you have a team that just finds a way to believe within the room. And we had it when we finally got to the Olympic Winter Games in Salt Lake. It was this internal belief. And it almost didn't matter for the first time, you know, who was on the power play, PK. It was more about just go do your job. Go do your job. And it was phenomenal to finally get that gold medal. And remember, they put it around my neck, and I went over to the boards, and there was my one of my brothers. He's wearing a Captain Canada cape. His body's painted, and he's running down 10 rows of people. Guys, he's running down 10 rows of people, screaming at the top of his lungs, "That's my sister! Let me at her!" Now, this is one of the brothers that put me in net. So
amazing.
I didn't even know he loved me. So this was an amazing, amazing experience. And that probably, that final game, I don't remember a shift I played it. And I've never rewatched it.
Wow.
Hey, I could listen to those stories.
Wow.
Because
Me too.
All day, dude.
Yeah, don't be a one-time guest with this intel.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
amazing.
No, I mean, it's incredible.
So
Before we let you go, we got a couple, we'd like to do a little fun stuff at the end here, and we want to go to what were you thinking? We're going to show you a picture, maybe a moment, maybe it's a video in your career. Want to know, if you remember these moments, what was going through your head? Oh, that looks tough there.
She's in one there.
I don't know. Get the hell off me. Geez, I don't even know what I was doing there. You know what? I'm surprised I made the team. I'm the one that's on the ice with the last name Pounder. She should be on the ice.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
We go next one here. What we got?
They're cooking it up. There it is.
Oh, this.
Oh, Granado, man.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you this. What was it like?
Guys, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Cammie's such a leader. I'll tell you what, when we got to the final game in Salt Lake City, and I was on the ice for a lot of PKs, because that was my role. So I remember, especially the last 2 minutes of the game, find Granado. Like, I remember it still in my brain, find her, because she was so greasy. And what I mean by that is she was slippery off the wall.
Yeah.
So, you know, those players that just, like, they're not going to beat you one-on-one down the ice. But they're going to beat you off the wall, and they're going to beat you back door.
Yeah.
And that was her. And so you knew that even if she didn't have body position on you, she could find a way off of the wall or in tight, because she just had a slippery set of mitts. And so for me, with her on the ice, it was always, where is she? Where is she? Because she would find out where one of those players who knew where the puck was going. Reason why she's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and she'd get into the weeds and then she'd bury it, and she didn't miss. So constantly in my mind saying, where's Granado? Where's Cammie? Where 21? Where is she? And I was constantly aware of where she was, and I was usually looking side to side because she was finding a way to get in behind.
Love it.
That's interesting.
Love it.
What do we got? Another one here. This is 02, I believe.
Yeah, that's 02. A moment I'll never forget, being in that pile. And again, I lost my voice screaming, we did it.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jen Botterill, who's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's her. And yeah, she was an unbelievable teammate. I got a great story about her, but Jen Botterill is going into the Hockey Hall of Fame on Monday.
That's right.
And she had said to me, she had said to me, what is one of your favorite moments, Pounder? And I was like, oh man, there's so many. And she looked at me and she goes, it's watching you guys get your gold medal.
Oh.
And pretty powerful statement for a teammate to make. And
Absolutely.
Gonna watch her go into the Hall on Monday.
Nice.
We got another one here. One we got time for. We got another one. Comment.
Oh, boys.
I like the
This
form.
is special.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was pretty impressive.
I heard they're
I look
using
like
this
Robert
term.
Plant, though, don't I?
Or Tyler Glasnow a little bit. Yeah, I like the mound presence though.
Okay, I nearly pinged off BJ Birdie. Where'd you find this footage? You gotta send me
we got
this.
contacts. And that had some
So-
heat. Oh,
Yeah.
that had some heat too.
Listen, I was a ball player, guys.
I could tell.
If I could have done it all over again,
Yeah.
you never know. But yeah, so
could tell.
I threw out the home opener for the Blue Jays.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, when we got back from Salt Lake City. So
Yeah.
interesting enough, when they were in the World Series, and it was Friday night, I think it was Game 6, I pulled out the jacket they'd given me, like dusted it off,
Nice.
and handed out Halloween candy in it, thinking, okay, this is the most. And then they lost, and so I put it back in the closet.
Until the next time. Oh,
yeah.
that's great form, though.
That is.
Mountain
That is.
presence
Hey,
there.
Hey, Grandma.
Look at the shortstop.
Grandma would be proud of the fastball on that one. I love that.
Oh yeah, I've got. Listen, I had some heat,
Yeah.
way better than my hockey shot. I'll tell you that.
We got one more for you. This one. What were you thinking here?
Okay, so this is between the benches. When you go into overtime, and I did swear on broadcast once.
That's all good. That's
well,
called
it's not
keeping it real.
Well,
That's
a
good.
couple times it slipped. It slipped,
Yeah,
Weeksy.
keeping
So
it real. I love it.
I was getting some fuel. When you're hitting 3-4 overtimes
Yeah.
consistently, and Rob Pizzo, great reporter, just says, "Pounder, you know what? You need some juice here. You need some fuel." And I was like, "You're right." I took the smelling salts from the players. You know, we were having fun with it.
That's great.
You know, it's hockey, right, guys? Got to have fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So got fueled up, took some smelling salts, didn't pound any pints. I knew that was not the right thing to do. Waited till after the game to do that.
Timing, sequencing, Rupper. That's all sequencing right there.
Make sure you're fueled
Yeah.
up for tonight. You gotta call here. We maybe won't see 3 overtimes, but you never know.
You never know.
But
No, it won't happen.
all right. Well, hey, Cheryl, we appreciate the heck out of you for swinging by
Yeah,
here.
thank you so
and
much.
don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.